through that game, or is there any things that stuck out that maybe you didn't see right away?
Yeah, a lot of things stuck out, and a few that kind of pop up more afterwards. A lot of the things we said were right on, though. We got to have the right mentality coming out after halftime. If we score on offense anywhere in the third quarter, I think the game's probably over. You can't let any team stay in a game that long. We played 3 really solid quarters on offense, good enough to win at least. Third quarter was poor. Defensively, we played close to 3 quarters of about as good a football as I've had a defense play, and then it fell apart. I think we did get a little tired. I didn't think that was the case after the game, but looking at the tape, we weren't playing as fast. But that's on us on offense as well for leaving them out on the field as long as we did in the third quarter. There's some other things. Offensively, I don't know if I said this, we had 13 or 14 possessions. We only had, I think, 4 without a sack, a penalty, or a tackle for loss, and we scored on all 4 of those. So we're just not quite efficient enough to be as consistent as we want to be. But a lot of good things happened in the game. We're all heartbroken and disappointed. Nobody's more disappointed than the coaches and the players. But I love how the guys responded today.
What's your assessment of where the run game is at, and I guess particularly the inside runs? I know Maurice got outside to some success, but inside, how do you feel about where it's going?
We're getting there. It was a lot better. We were a lot better on offense this week than we were the week before, and that's because we practiced well. We practiced with detail, practiced with intention of making the plays work. I'd like to see us run it more consistently. I'd like to see us pass it more consistently. There was a few that were close to going. I maybe should have committed to the run game a little more in the third quarter, particularly after we got stopped a couple times. But we're going to be who we are, too. And so I think it's headed in a good direction, but just like everything else, it needs to be a little better.
On the depth chart, Barrett's not there anymore. Is that an expectation that he's going to be out for a while? And how do you feel about your kicker spot at this moment?
We're not trying to make any statements with this depth chart. We're just trying to reflect it as much as we can without talking about our kids' injuries and putting them at risk. I don't know if we'll have Barrett or not this week. I know he's getting better. I just don't want to leave him on there if he's not going to be the guy, just to be honest. I think, putting Isaac in that situation, did a great job on the first field goal, putting him in that situation. He didn't know he was going to kick until Thursday or something, but that's what we had. So, I admire him for going out there and doing what he did, and he can do the job if we need him to.
It sounds like from your assessment, you felt like you played 3 good quarters offensively, 3 good quarters defensively. Is that indicative of your margin of error going ahead, this week and through the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think so. Our margin of error is pretty small right now. We had a pretty big margin in that game, and as a head coach, I got to find a way to get that done, and the assistants do too, and the players do too. There needs to be a sense of urgency to get it done. I think, third quarter, our offense needs to go out with a purpose a little more. Defensively, I don't know if we got tired. I think it might be a little bit of mentality thing instead of thinking let's stay on the attack, maybe thinking, uh-oh, is this going to happen? It happened to us once or so last year, and that's a hurdle you have to get over as a team to make sure you win those games. And that's on us as coaches to make sure that we get that mentality.
You referenced it a little bit afterwards, but is there a way to get more receivers past JD and Wandale involved, or is that on the guys to some degree, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, we're trying. I'm really surprised the ball hasn't found Wandale yet, or Conovi yet. He did some really good things in the game, blocked well, ran some good routes. The ball just didn't find him. Game 1 he wasn't out there as much, but ball hopefully will find him in this game and a lot more. Some of the other guys too. We design some things for certain people, and the rest of the time we run our offense and throw to the open guy. And if they're open in this offense, the ball's going to get to them.
Do you like what you are getting in the run game when you have 2 tight ends in the game, and those guys give you enough in the passing game to maybe use them more?
Yeah, 2 tight ends or 1 tight end depends on the looks we're getting and which formations we find things in that we think we can exploit. Both those guys are doing a really good job, Jack and Austin, in the run game and the pass game. So depending on what a team's given us, we'll have the best formation, the best guys out there that we think will help us move the ball.
Scott, I'm curious, 2 years ago, did that Northern Illinois-Nebraska game even make your radar when they won here at Lincoln?
I remember seeing the score, and I actually remember seeing the highlights a little bit. Listen, he was asking me about margin of error. You know, I've said this all summer. We're better. There's no question we're better. I think, like I said, the offense played good enough to win for 3 quarters. We got to do it for 4. The defense played really well for 3. We got to do it for 4. But we're also not so good that we can have penalties and setbacks on offense and overcome 2nd and 16. And we're not so good that we can make mistakes and give people big plays and expect to win. Everything else in that game Saturday stays the same, and we win the turnover margin. And like we've talked about 100 times in meetings, and we probably win the game. You know, it'll be nice when the days around here when we got so much talent, we can run out and play like we're supposed to, and hopefully people won't have a chance. Right now, no matter who you're playing, you have to play well, and if our margins are small, we need to execute well.
Scott, there's been 5 times since you've been here then that you guys have led at halftime or after and ended up losing. You mentioned that it's up to the coaches to make sure that the guys finish. I guess, how specifically as coaches do you do that?
Pretty specifically. You know, without talking about too much that goes on inside, right before we left the locker room at halftime, I had the whole team up and I said 1 of 2 things is going to happen. Either we mess around and let this, you know, don't finish this and let this team eventually get back in the game and it gets interesting, or we go out and finish them right now. And they were all excited, looked ready to go to me. I just didn't maybe feel the sense of urgency, particularly on the offensive side in the 3rd quarter. And, you know, looking back at the tape, you know, there's always a few play calls you'd want back on offense and defense. We had them in some good stuff. We just, you know, didn't quite do the little things right that we needed to finish it. And I think more than anything, it's a mentality to get over, that the expectation to win and the desire to go out and make the play that's going to make it happen.
Not making excuses, but you did say when you watched the film back, you noticed maybe that they were a little bit more tired than you saw on Saturday. How much of that do you think may have been a factor because of the altitude and just having to adapt to that?
Again, I've never noticed the altitude when I played out there. It might have had something to do with it. For 3 quarters, we were flying around. Then we had one series where we missed too many tackles and gave them their first touchdown. And then, you know, it was just a busted coverage and bad eyes on a flea flicker. And, you know, if we just make them drive the ball on those 2 drives and earn it, one, you know, they hadn't really been doing that the whole game. And 2, there's going to be a lot more time off the clock. And they might not have time for that at the end. So, you know, a lot of things went wrong for us, and those are the problems we have to address.
We didn't get a great explanation, or you couldn't hear the official well. On the fumble on the kick return, did they call a penalty on the sideline or on you specifically?
Not on me. There was a member of our staff that bumped into the referee on the field. As far as I know, yeah.
Hey, Scott, you guys talked about the 24-hour rule. How do you think they responded today? The guys seemed that one of the Matt Farniak said it was the best Monday they've had.
I think that's true. It was a really good Monday.
Coach, what about Northern Illinois on both sides of the ball to get your attention?
What got my attention first was the score, looking at the score before I went out for the Colorado game. And I've been in the Pac-12. I know what Utah's all about as a program, and seeing them in a tie game with Utah in the 2nd quarter got my attention. Watching them on tape, I think they got some receivers that can hurt you. The quarterback does a good job. He'll surprise you with his feet and make some plays, and he did against Utah. I think they got a good scheme on offense. Defensively, man, they fly around. They're like a swarm of bees or fire ants or something that you're trying to block. There's movement on the D-line all the time. There's linebackers sprinting through the line of scrimmage, through gaps. We have to be able to block moving targets this week. They're going to load the box with that and make us earn it on the ground. So we need to complete some balls to our wideouts and be able to block them with movement and get some runs.
They changed a lot, though, with Hammock versus where they were with Rob Carey, as far as like your studying of them over the last few weeks.
Well, we have really 2 weeks to go on. You know, we can look back at some other things and places that other people were and look back at personnel, but you know, anytime there's any changes on staffs, you find a little bit different product. So we don't have a ton of tape to go off of, but I'm impressed with him.
Adrian's averaging close to 10 yards an attempt, and how would you evaluate how he's played so far, and how much better can it get? I mean, that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, I said before the season we're going to go as far as Adrian takes us. I didn't think he played his best game week 1. He played really well Saturday. Just like as a play caller, there's a few plays that I want back. I'm sure there's a few plays that he wants back where he could have done something a little better, but he operated really efficiently and made some really good plays. I thought he played courageously, and he can still get a lot better, but that'll show up too when we're a lot better around him.
You talked about the importance for the offense to get a first down, the first down on a drive, get rhythm going, pace. For you, how important is that, and how does it impact your calling of the game?
It impacts it. You know, when we get a first down going, we're going to be on the field longer. Then I feel confident about using tempo more, getting in a rhythm where you can set something up with something else. You know, but when we're not operating quite efficiently enough, those things don't just flow. And usually one play here or there leads to another one, leads to another one. And at times we get that rolling, and it looks really pretty. Other times we kind of sputter and cough, and then we have trouble finding our rhythm. So it's just a matter of executing a little better and giving ourselves more opportunities with more plays.
How has Isaac Armstrong been over the last 48 hours, his reaction to the missed field goal?
I haven't seen Isaac since we got back to Lincoln. He'll be fine. Kid's a gamer and a good person, and he'll be just fine.
Cam Taylor-Britt, he had the missed opportunity on the flea flicker, but then immediately turned around and stripped the ball. Now he's top of the depth chart at safety. What have you seen from a guy like him in 2 games so far?
Cam's a good player. He does a great job. He's one of our leaders. You know, he's played nickel, he's played corner. Now he's going to be pressed in duty a little bit at safety. Can still play other places. But we trust him in just about every spot, and that's why he has a black shirt.
How close are some of those freshman guys on the season coming back? And Ramir Johnson, Darian Chase, some of those guys.
Yeah, we're looking for more depth, particularly at skill on offense and some other spots. It's just kind of on their own time when it all kind of clicks for people and we can start using them. You know, would have liked to think we could have got some of those guys in the first couple games, but those 2 guys you mentioned in particular are pretty close. Darian and Ramir are both doing some really good things in practice. Just need to be completely comfortable with the scheme.
How close is Cade Warner? I know you traveled him, he was suited up. I mean, is he a guy that you're looking to kind of get back on the field?
Yeah, we expect Cade back pretty quickly.
And then you got Luke Reimer back, and you made an impact with the fumble recovery. I mean, do you have a role for him, or is he more like a special teams guy now going forward?
No, Luke, I think Luke has a bright future around here, so we'll continue to look for opportunities and avenues to get all those talented young guys on the field.
Is Deontay at risk of missing the season?
Yeah, I can announce that. Deontay's had a shoulder surgery and is done for the foreseeable future.